Welcome to a bonus episode of the Queen's Table Podcast. I'm your host, Marissa J, and today we're going to discuss some of the responses that I've received from the last episode, or pertaining to the last episode, about the last episode. If you haven't caught the last episode, go ahead and catch the last episode. It was me and DJ Flex Rated. See, I didn't forget this time. And we were talking about like relationship stuff. So if you haven't already checked out that episode, go ahead and check that episode out. So a couple of the questions that I've gotten, I just wanted to kind of touch on really two specific ones. And then we'll keep sending them in, keep on sending them in. Don't send it to my email. I've gotten too many emails and now I'm not receiving emails. So do not send it to tqtpodcast@gmail.com. Go ahead and send it on over. DM me on Instagram at tqtpodcast. I am always on Instagram. I may not post a whole lot anymore. It's just hard because different algorithms, different things, different analytics. So anyhow, I don't post a whole lot anymore, but I'm always on Instagram. So go ahead and send on your responses or your questions or anything that you have for the last episode on over, because we will have Thomas Anderson, aka DJ Flex Rated, back on the show to address some of those responses, because it was some good responses, y'all, some good questions. So first things first, the number one question that I've been getting from this last episode is, why come me and Thomas aren't together? Guys, listen, y'all gotta stop. y'all gotta stop. First of all, Thomas is a friend. Second of all, Thomas is, I work with him on a professional level. That thought has not crossed my mind. I'm a lie. I'm a whole ass lie. That thought did cross my mind when I first saw him, but before I got to know him, since getting to know him, that thought hasn't crossed my mind. I'm sure it hasn't crossed his mind either. So we're not gonna talk about that, guys. We're not gonna talk about that. Y'all so silly. So the second thing is, okay, so we'll address the actual question with Thomas, but within the question, she basically said, she was speaking on pretty privilege, okay? She was basically saying, like, it's hard to date when you don't have pretty privilege. And that's one of the things that I used to be like, that's so fucking silly that people are sitting up here talking about pretty privilege. That is the silliest thing I think I've ever heard of in my entire life, until I lost my pretty privilege. Guys, didn't realize it. Some people realize it, some people don't. Okay. I was one of the ones who did not realize it as a child growing up. Very dark skin. I'm much darker than everybody else in my family. And that I went to predominantly white schools. And so these factors, they kind of, like, nobody was really checking for your girl, okay? Nobody was really checking for me as a child, okay? Like, as far as friendships and all of that goes, it just wasn't happening. So, moving on to my teen years, I blossomed, I guess, but also I'm beating around the bush here. Trigger warning, I guess. I had an eating disorder from the time that I was 12 years old until age 23. So, with that being said, that wasn't a well-known fact about me, but I was an overweight child, and I ended up losing all of the weight, and other things was just happening for me, and I got pretty. And I used my pretty privilege, but I never really understood why my other friends didn't have the same interactions with people as me and my best friend did. Now, okay, so like I ran in this little clique, okay? Sorry, side note, story time. I ran with this clique, right? And I don't want to call out their names because some of them lead very, very private lives. Some of them I've fallen out with. It is what it is. But it was me and my best friend, and then another group of girls. It was two girls, and those two girls I loved them. Okay, I loved them. They were my friends. They were some of my closest friends. We had amazing times together. They were my friends and I loved them. They were also overweight. Me and my best friend, we both had eating disorders and we just didn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? And we would always, kind of like wonder, like, well, why come they're not, over here with us, with the boys and flirting and, doing this and doing that, doing a bunch of shit that none of us have any business doing. Why weren't they over here doing that? And it took a while for me to realize, like, that was that, I guess, skinny privilege, I guess, because it wasn't like either one of them were ugly. They were both beautiful, gorgeous girls. Okay, so I don't know, like it didn't really dawn on me until adulthood. And I spoke with one of them about it and they were like, yeah, bitch. Like, yeah, we were miserable. That's why they were best friends, because two skinny bitches get to run off and always leave them. She would always say that she said that we would always leave them. And I'm like, oh my God, like I was that person? Like, damn, I didn't even know. I'm sorry. Like that wasn't, I don't remember things that way. So anyway, getting back on track, since 13, 14, I've been living in this pretty privilege. I did not understand how in the hell somebody would get a traffic ticket because I had never gotten one. The first traffic ticket that I had gotten was after I had my fourth child. No, I'm sorry. After I had my third child. I have four. So after I had my third child, that's when I realized I had lost my pretty privilege. I was, okay, so after I had him, I wanted to get my tubes tied, but they don't do that in the hospital right after you have a kid anymore. So they told me to come back in 3 months. I came back in 3 months and I was pregnant again with my fourth. So, and then the day we got out of the hospital, I had left my ex. That was a huge traumatic thing for years. But after I had gotten, or before I was released from the hospital, I had gotten the Depo-Provera shot. Now, if you don't know what the Depo shot is, it is hell. It is absolute fucking hell. Especially if you're not even sexually active, which I wasn't. And I didn't know that I wasn't going to be. So two of the possible side effects of the Depo shot is excessive weight gain and acne. And I had gotten both really fucking bad for some years. It was terrible. It was absolutely horrible. Other things were happening to me physically and just my body was falling apart. And I had lost my pretty privilege. I lost it, you guys. And it took me years to finally be okay with who I was and who I looked at when I looked in the mirror, who I saw when I looked in the mirror. Because it was really, really hard for me to do that, struggling with eating disorders and all of that stuff. I mean, I still struggle with it, but it's rough. So now seeing that, now being able to understand pretty privilege from both sides of the field, having that privilege and not having that privilege, okay? being able to see it from both sides, I really want to take the question, are we being realistic in our expectations? During the time that I gained a ton of weight and I had a ton of acne, and nobody was checking for me, or at that point, I thought nobody was checking for me. Here's the thing. Had I had lowered my standards at that point in time, I could have gotten somebody. Like, really and truly, if you lower your standards from those expectations that you have, you can still find somebody. Now, the question is, why do you feel like you should have the standards that you do have? For example, I have 4 children. What the hell do I look like saying I don't want to be with a man that already has kids? Now, I do know a few single moms that they do prefer to date men without children because of the whole baby mama aspect, and they just don't want to deal with it. Okay, fine. But I also know people who don't date men with children just because they don't want to have to deal with that. Like, just because they're like, oh no, he can't have no kid. What? Huh? What the hell kind of sense does that make? You got all these damn kids and he can't have none. Oh, okay. My man got to own a house. He got to have a Lexus. He got to be the president, the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Ma'am, do you own your home? Do you drive that particular car? Do you have that particular job? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying drop your standards so low that all you're getting is just the bottom of the totem pole. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I didn't date during, this 7-year period for a reason, for several reasons, but one of which was I knew I wasn't where I wanted to be. And so how could I expect that of somebody that I'm dating when I don't even have my shit together? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't do the whole hypergamy thing. So if you came here trying to listen for some clues on hypergamy, I'm sorry, I don't go that route. My thing is I'm not going to ask you for something that I am not willing to do myself. You feel me? So I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that I need you to have at least 2 master's degrees and a PhD. I don't have nothing anywhere near that. Why would I expect that of you? That's not fair. So, and I want to take the question, are we being realistic in our expectations, even broader? Not just with relationships, but are we being realistic in our expectations when it comes to politics, when it comes to religion, when it comes to employee-employer relationships, when it comes to friendships? Are we being realistic in our expectations in general? So, I guess this is like a super extra long prelude intro to what's the next episode finna be. We're going to be talking about expectations and being able to reach those and all of that. I know that the question did not have anything to do with being realistic in our expectations, but I wanted to take you guys on my train of thought here, where my mind ended up going, because I'm like, okay, yes, it is hard to date when you don't have pretty privilege, but are you being realistic in your expectations? If it's something that you cannot control, and I wholeheartedly believe that weight is something that you can control. I could have lost all of this weight. These last few months, I've lost 55 pounds. Okay. I could have been doing that years ago. I wasn't putting in the time or the effort. I'll take that back. I was putting in the time and the effort, but then I got discouraged when I didn't see immediate results. So that caused me to not put in the time and the effort that I needed to do to lose the weight. You see what I'm saying? So if it's something that you cannot control, it is what it is. It is what it is. You doing the best that you can possibly do on all of the fronts. All right, cool. I'm speaking specifically to the women that complain about not having pretty privilege and they are overweight. And don't get me wrong, I'm still overweight. Yeah, okay. She lost some weight, but I'm still overweight. This isn't a healthy weight for me, not for my height. For my height, I'm still overweight. So I'm not sitting up here digging in to folks just because, one way or another. I'm saying, if you're not taking care of your body, and being overweight is part of that. I have an issue with glorifying people that are obese. Not talking about a little chunky chunk. I'm saying obese. I'm not going to call any performers out, but y'all already know who the fuck I'm talking about. That particular performer. That's obese. Why are we glorifying that? She could very, very easily be pre-diabetic. And dealing with people that are very, very close to me in my life that do have diabetes, that's not fucking fun. And that's not something that you should want to try to get. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really irritates me when you think about high cholesterol and diabetes and high blood pressure and all of these heart problems and all of these problems that comes along with being obese, and yet we're glorifying it. I take issue with that. I take issue with that in the same way that I still take issue with my weight, which I'm working on my own. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all right. I'm gonna deal with it. Because it's not healthy. It's not okay. So with people that complain about not having pretty privilege, but what they think makes them not so pretty is something that they absolutely can control, or being able to control the environment that you're around. Maybe you're not around the right type of people. Switch it up. Don't go to that bar, go to another bar. Don't go to a bar, go to a book store. You know what I'm saying? Shit's open nowadays. Shit. You can go. Hell. Hurry up before they shut everything down. But anyway, I've been rambling on for damn near 20 minutes. It's supposed to be a bonus episode, so I'm going to wrap it up here. But yeah, like basically just, are we being realistic in our expectations? I don't feel as though we are. And that's why we have certain terminology that we use and that we're trying to normalize when it doesn't even have to be that way. I don't think that a lot of people put enough time and energy into the things that they say that they want. Now, me personally, I don't want a relationship. I'm still working on me. You know what I'm saying? I'm still not where I want to be. And I can't ask my partner to be in a specific place when I'm not there yet. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's it.